Welcome to Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to a new podcast of Wrestling with Siblings.
Today we'll be talking about Hell in a Cell. If I had to rate the pay-per-view between a 1 and a 10, I would give it a solid 9. A- for me. I think the pay-per-view overall, from the first match to the very last match, were really, really good. Armando?
Yeah, I'll give it a 9, probably a solid A, just because, like you said, all the matches were great. It was one of the best pay-per-views we had in a while, if not the best pay-per-view of the year. A lot of surprises from beginning to end, and all these matches were pretty much hard to predict.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, and one of those matches was the New Day versus Rusev Day, which was on the kickoff show. Obviously, I wouldn't have put this match in the kickoff show, but if there had to be a match, I guess, I'm not saying that they deserve to be down there, because I honestly think they shouldn't. This was a really good match. Both sides delivered. The New Day was able to retain the tag team titles, which we saw coming, honestly. I didn't see them losing it, especially to a temporary tag team like Rusev Day, and the reason why I say that is because during this match, Aiden English tagged himself in, without actual consent from Rusev, and it kind of led to a disagreement, and that's what ended up causing them the match. So I feel like the end is near for this tag team.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I see the end of it. And like you said, little mistakes from a tag team that hasn't been together and hasn't been working a lot together. And at the end of the day, the New Day, they've been doing this for couple years, 3 years already, maybe 4 tops, if anything.
Yeah, I believe they came together in 2014, so it's been 4 years, and they've been champions 5 times. So
at the end of the day, the experience was the one that ended up winning the match for the New Day.
And Rusev Day, we can expect Rusev to start feuding with Aiden English. We already saw this back with the Andrade and Selena feud that they had. But they were able to resolve their issues and earn the number 1 contendership to the tag titles. And obviously, if you really think about it, they've been promoting the Super Showdown where the tag titles are going to be on the line against the Bar. So you could have kind of assumed that the New Day was going to be victorious at Hell in a Cell.
It's pretty much the end of Aiden English and Rusev. It's bound to happen that they're going to feud with each other.
Yeah, if they stick together, it's going to be 2 weeks tops, and then they'll end up feuding full time. All right, let's get into the first match of the main show. To me, this match, regardless of what anybody else says, this was the match of the night. This was the pay-per-view match of the night. It stole the show. It was completely brutal, and both sides were able to dominate so evenly. Again, we already know what Randy Orton can do in and outside of the ring. Not just Randy Orton, we know what the Viper and the Legend Killer are capable of, and he did show the most twisted side we've seen yet. He grabbed Jeff Hardy's earlobe and put a screwdriver through it and twisted it. His ear could have fallen off. That was brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. Harsh to see, but that's part of Hell in a Cell. You get these type of matches, and again, he had a great opponent with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is not afraid to go to the extreme. He's willing to try everything, not only for the fans, but just for him, because that's how he is.
And if the ending of this match doesn't prove you that, then there really is something wrong, because he thought he was going to be able to Swanton Bomb Randy from the top of a 20-foot ladder, but obviously that wasn't possible because he was literally maybe 2 or 3 feet from the cell, so he wasn't able to do the Swanton Bomb, so he thought, okay, I'm going to hang from the top of the cage, and Randy was laying down on the table, and then he let himself go, and Randy was able to move right before he landed, and so he ended up leaving on a stretcher. Mad respect to Jeff Hardy, mad respect to Randy Orton. They both delivered. They gave an incredible match. Randy was bleeding throughout the match, as we were able to see.
Yeah, like I said, it's just perfect because of what Randy Orton has done in Hell in a Cell. He had the most experience, so he knew what to expect of it. Jeff Hardy kind of didn't, but like I said, He's been in Extreme Rules matches. He kind of had a little bit of an idea of what was going to happen. But again, the experience of being in a Hell in a Cell match, and I think Jeff Hardy's mistake was hanging from the top of the cage to try to execute
whatever he was trying to do.
And I think that was his big mistake.
Yeah, because that's what ended up causing him the match. He ended up leaving on a stretcher, you know, and that was really, really hard to watch because I know we've mentioned this before. For his age, it's hard to do all this new stuff, right? And you were able to see that he still hasn't lost it. And Randy, my respects to Randy as well, he delivered. He completely brutalized Jeff Hardy. And of course, you know, he ended up winning. He took the pin. He was victorious. But he was put through hell as well. It was an incredible match. This, to me, was the match of the night.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one.
All right, the next match was probably one of the most expected matches over the last month.
We forgot to say who we went with on Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton.
We picked Jeff Hardy. Sorry, we forgot that to say that part. Okay, now probably one of the most expected matches for the last couple of weeks. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. I went with Charlotte for various reasons, and Armando, obviously, he picked Becky Lynch. I think this is what Charlotte is supposed to be doing. She let Becky dominate the entire match. She put Becky over. And that is what Charlotte needs to be doing with the talent. Obviously, she lost, which in my opinion we saw it coming. This is what we wanted to happen, even though I predicted Charlotte. But, so the reason why I predicted Charlotte was because I didn't see her losing it in such short period of time after winning the championship. Like, it's just something that I was like, okay, based on who she is, I don't think she'll lose it. I was hoping maybe she would lose it like at Evolution since it was going to be a longer reign. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. You know, Becky completely deserved the championship opportunity. And she proved herself against Charlotte. And she showed why she earned the WWE Women's Championship.
Yeah, again, two of the 4 horsewomen that came up from NXT. I was rooting for Becky. Becky she has been working hard these past couple of months, not only months, but years. And keep in mind, she was the first ever women's SmackDown champion. She didn't have a title range, in a couple years. So she deserved it. She finally met Charlotte finally met her match. And, I mean, it was just one of the great matches.
And Charlotte completely put her over, and I think this is what she should be doing with the talent. She should be opening doors to new talent and elevating somebody's career. Imagine what she could do for somebody that's starting off and her having a match with them. You know, it's going to put them on the map. It's going to completely give the opportunity for a woman to show what they have. Kind of like when Sonya Deville faced her on SmackDown Live a few weeks ago.
And keep in mind, these two women know each other so well. I mean, they trained together. They were brought out from NXT. And, I mean, the amount of new movesets that Becky Lynch and Charlotte showed throughout the match was impressive, showing that they're two of the top stars. You know, because when you know someone pretty well in the ring, it's pretty hard, you know, to come up with something new. And just the way that they projected all these new moves. And on top of that, I like this Becky Lynch as a heel. It elevates her career, and it's something different for her too.
It is, and this was long coming. You know, I feel like turning her heel was the right move. The last champion was a heel as well, which was Carmella, and you know, Charlotte was a face. But I do feel like Becky is gonna have a long title reign. I do believe that. It's going to be hard to stop her. You know, obviously she's going to have to give Charlotte her rematch. But even then, I don't think Charlotte is going to beat her for it. I think it's Becky's time, and she's going to hold it for a really solid time.
Yeah, this is a different Becky Lynch. A Becky Lynch, not only me, but everybody else wanted to see. Her aggression is just... And she shows it in the ring.
All right, let's get into the next match, which was for the Raw Tag Team titles, which was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose versus Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. We went with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Unfortunately, the winners were Drew McIntyre and Ziggler. Of course, this isn't a bad thing because McIntyre and Ziggler have been at the top of their game ever since they became partners. They recently just won the tag titles. I didn't see them losing them anytime soon, but we did think together that the Shield was going to end up holding all the gold at the end of Hell in a Cell, which is why we predicted the Shield was going to win. This match was really good as well. Like I've said, there isn't a match where Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler disappoint.
Yeah, it did disappoint. Like you said, McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, they've been getting the huge push, but yet again, we thought that the Shield was going to win just because they're the Shield. And we kind of wanted to see the Shield keep all the gold. Kind of made sense, but, you know, at the end of the day, McIntyre
and Ziggler are running Raw, and this is their throne now. And, you know, it honestly, I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do. I don't see them losing the championships anytime soon. I do think, like I said with Becky, that they're going to have a really long title reign. And it's going to be very interesting to see who steps up to that map. I expect them to keep feuding with Seth and Dean Ambrose for the next couple of months. That's pretty much a given. There really is nobody else on Raw that can match up to them other than, AOP. But they're eventually going to have to work their way up there. Matt Hardy retired, so you won't see him there anymore. So it's going to be very interesting to see who else other than Seth and Dean can take on McIntyre and Ziggler.
And not only that the tag match was great, but Seth and Dolph have been feuding for the past couple of weeks, and their matches have been good.
Weeks? They've been feuding for months now. And now they've incorporated the tag titles, and now they've added Dean, and now they've added Roman Reigns to the equation. So it's something different. It's like you can't get caught up on the same thing. And like I've said, Seth is super creative. Dolph Ziggler is super creative. They're always coming up with new things to entertain people. You know what I mean? And every single one of these matches, even though they've been feuding for 2 months now, every single match that they've had has been completely different.
Yeah, and they don't disappoint. That's the good thing.
Exactly. They don't disappoint, and this was a really, really good match. If I had to rate it, I would have given it like an 8.
I'll probably give it a 9.
Probably give it a 9. Yeah.
Because it was good.
It was really good. It was. Dean Ambrose, again, he came back better than ever. I think this is his time. This is his opportunity, and eventually he's going to get some gold. Everybody in the Shield has some type of gold except for Dean Ambrose. So he's going to have to get something at some point. Whether he takes the Intercontinental from Seth and then they become tag champions, I don't know. But he's for sure going to have to hold something because you can't just have him not have anything. But I always feel like Dean has always, I don't want to say left out, but I always feel like he's always at the bottom of the Shield. Because I feel like WWE sees Seth and Reigns as the top stars, and they just set Dean Ambrose aside. Because ever since the beginning, that's the way it's been. And nothing against Dean. Like, I love Dean. I think he's extremely talented, and I'm glad he's back from his injury. But I just feel like they're not treating him like everybody else.
Yeah, like he's not getting the same push as Seth and Roman.
And
which I have to agree with you on that, and it's totally true. But, it is what it is. He's also up there. But yeah, if anything, he's going to be the one that's going to get sacrificed as far as titles. And I don't see him getting a title anytime soon unless Seth Rollins loses the Intercontinental Championship and Dean and Seth become tag team champions. I see him holding the tag championships.
I've said before, this company is built for these 3 guys. It's sad that he is always like the one that's pushed aside, but at the end of the day, one way or another, he's going to become champion no matter what, because this company revolves around these three guys, and it was built so perfectly for them that Raw was built 100% for the Shield. From what we're looking at, they're always on the main event, whether it's Seth, whether it's Dean, whether it's Roman Reigns. They're always on the top feuds of the brand, and honestly, what other good feuds does Raw have?
Yeah. Another one that has really, really impressed me has been McIntyre. I think that him leaving WWE and going into independent wrestling, the indies, really helped out his career a lot.
He went into the indies to better himself, went over there, came back better than ever. Again, we've said it before, he's main event worthy. He's eventually going to be one of the top guys within the next few years. I don't even want to say years. It's coming up pretty darn soon.
And then not only that, but his in-ring skills, his mic skills, and he's just in the best shape of his life. You know, he's at his top of his game right now.
And I feel now is the time to give him that push, because people are into him right now. You look at him and you're just like, this guy is going to be a top star. And I think now is his time. But I also think it was a brilliant idea to pair him with Dolph Ziggler and put him with the small title, which is the tag titles, to see how he does. Because we already know Dolph can carry the business if he wanted to, right? The point of these slower titles is to see how they're going to do and if they can carry the business or the division to the level that they're supposed to be at.
Yeah.
And this is really going to help Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's get into another good... Oh, we did say who won, right? McIntyre and Ziggler won. We predicted that Dean and Seth were going to win. All right, now moving on to AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. This is one where we also disagreed on. Armando went with AJ Styles. I went with Samoa Joe. Technically, Samoa Joe won this match. So I'm taking it as a victory because... And I get it. It was the different angles and stuff. AJ ended up retaining because the ref didn't see when AJ Styles tapped out. And now, in 3 weeks at the Super Showdown, we're going to be getting the rematch again. So this would be the third time that you see it. But you can pretty much bet that you're not going to be disappointed because it's going to be a really good match. We've seen it twice already. And the both times that we've seen it, it's been really, really good.
Yeah, it has. Again, some controversy on it. The ref didn't see the AJ Styles tap out. He did tap out, but at the end of the day, the ref calls what he sees, and he called the pinfall. Overall, it was a great match. This feud just keeps getting better and better and better as it goes by. But, I mean, you got to pick whoever's has won, and AJ Styles has proven himself like he is the best wrestler of the generation, even though I think he's met his match in WWE till now.
Here's the thing though, speaking of AJ Styles being the greatest in-ring performer of this generation, I completely agree. I think he's darn good, right? And I think he for sure is one of the best, and I do think he is the best as of right now, which is why he should be the one that's main eventing the WWE title. I believe has not main evented a pay-per-view this entire year. We are now in September and he has not main evented, which sucks because AJ Styles is an elite superstar. He is the greatest in-ring performer of this generation, and he holds the biggest title in the WWE, which isn't the Universal, it's the WWE Championship, and it's really sad that he has not gotten the opportunity to main event at least once. I do still believe WrestleMania was his spot because Shinsuke Nakamura rightfully owned the main event of WrestleMania, and they didn't get it. And I understand their logic where they're like, they main evented the SmackDown portion of, that was basically their main event. Yeah, but technically he still won the Royal Rumble, which technically guarantees him a main event at WrestleMania, and Roman obviously took the main event, which we're not surprised about, but I do want to see AJ Styles or even the WWE Championship main event a pay-per-view this year, because it has not happened.
And I feel that at WrestleMania, I told Araceli this, that I think AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura kind of held back a little bit as far as
Performance wise?
Yeah, as far as performance wise in the match, because they're two of the top athletes in the world for them not to main event. So I think they were kind of upset of the outcome, so they kind of held back. That was my perspective of the match. I don't know about you guys, but even then, I have to agree with you 100%. AJ should main event the pay-per-views, just because, not only because he holds the WWE Championship, but just because what he has done in his career. And I mean, look at SmackDown. He has brought it to another level since he got there.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he deserves the main event. And nothing against Roman Reigns, we're not being like, oh, this is this and that. No, but it's like, you have a WWE champion for a reason. He's there for a reason. He's defended that championship for a reason. And he's never gotten the main event, not once. Ever since he came into this business, he has not main evented a pay-per-view, I believe. He's main evented SmackDown, but he hasn't main evented like an actual pay-per-view.
And all his matches since he got here in WWE have been great. There hasn't been one disappointing match.
Even his match against James Ellsworth was fantastic. And his opponent was James Ellsworth.
So that tells you something.
Exactly. Samoa Joe, on the other hand, he's super incredible, super athletic. He has the mic skills. He is at AJ's level. He really, really is. And the day that he wins the championship, it's going to be an incredible journey that he's going to have because, like I said, he's a top superstar. He's an elite superstar. He delivers. He's at the top of his game.
He pretty much went through the same path and had the same career as AJ Styles. I mean, these guys known each other since
years.
The Indies, they went through all Indies, you name it, they wrestled together. And I think that's another part of it, that since they know each other so well, they know what to expect of each other. And that level of creativity never disappears because they never disappoint one each other, and they always push each other to the limit. And we've seen it in these matches, whether it's with the in-ring skills, with their mic skills, or whatever it is, but they're always up there.
And it's going to be very interesting that we're going to get the next 3 weeks to build up this feud. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out. Again, I picked Samoa Joe. Armando picked AJ Styles. The ending of this match was basically, he had him in a submission hold, but the ref thought it was a pin. So, what was it?
Well, Samoa Joe was trying to do the coquina clutch, and as he threw himself back, AJ Styles countered it, and AJ had his shoulders on the mat, which he did, and the ref was on the other side, so he didn't see when AJ Styles tapped out.
He didn't see when AJ Styles tapped out, but we did get the second view from the other camera angle, and we clearly saw that AJ Styles tapped out. Of course, Samoa Joe went over to Paige, and he was like, this is ridiculous. How are you allowing this to happen? I got screwed over. I should be the champion. And Paige basically told him, there's nothing I can do. The official called it already. You guys are facing each other in 3 weeks.
And even if you pay attention at the end of the match, when they hand the title back to AJ, he's kind of like disappointed at him because he knew he tapped out. So he wasn't as excited for the win because he knew deep down that he had lost and that he had gotten lucky.
Yep, he got lucky that the ref didn't see it, basically. Yeah. But it's still AJ Styles. I'm glad, for the outcome. We'll see how it goes in 3 weeks. I really do think that Samoa Joe is going to beat AJ Styles in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that is correct. But we'll see what happens. Should be another great match.
It's for sure not going to disappoint. It's going to happen in Melbourne, Australia at the Super Showdown October 6th. So, that being said, let's get into Ronda. Oh, no. It was Miz and Maryse versus Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. We had predicted Bryan and Brie. Miz and Maryse came out victorious. Again, like we said, this pay-per-view was hard to predict because it could have gone both ways. Like, all of these matches could have gone both ways, and we all would have still been completely okay with them. This match, it was pretty good. You know, for Bree's first match back, I guess, official match back. It wasn't bad. Maryse obviously didn't get in the ring as much, but it looks like she hasn't lost it just yet.
And then Bree's been out a couple years. You could tell it's kind of affected her in the ring. She looks a little rusty, just overall. But
the match wasn't bad. You know, Bree's performance wasn't bad. She barely got the opportunity to get into the ring with Maryse. She was there towards the end of the match because Miz and Brian basically carried the entire match. As we know, this feud got personal, and expect for it to happen again. You know, this feud is gonna go on super long. I personally think it's gonna end at WrestleMania one way or another. I see them kind of shifting from this feud for a little bit and then it coming back, because you just can't keep a feud going for the next 8 months. It's just not possible.
Yeah, they're going to go on and off with it. The reason why I went with Brie and Daniel Bryan was to try to even out the odds. I felt that Bryan really needed the win just because The Miz beat him at SummerSlam. So.
All right. So, Miz and Maryse, again, they outsmarted Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. We gave you guys our prediction. Now let's get into one of the most talked about matches. And we will tell you why it's one of the most talked about matches. Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Again, anything that Ronda Rousey is in, it's going to be talkable. You guys may disagree with this, but I strongly believe that Alexa brought out the best in Ronda, and I feel like Ronda brought out the best in Alexa. You know, the match was pretty fair on both sides. Again, you know, in this match, I'm proud to say that Ronda didn't get as distracted as she normally does in other matches. And, you know, she was focused. She knew what she was going into. Her Raw Women's Championship was at stake, and she defended it successfully against Alexa Bliss.
One of the things is that everybody underestimates Alexa Bliss just because of her size. She's just overall a great wrestler. She's proving it multiple times. And with all the opponents she's had. Not only that, but she's also outsmarted them.
She has, and she always has something up her sleeve. This time she ended up not winning. But at the end of the day, she gave Ronda Rousey a fight, and Ronda Rousey gave her one too. They both delivered. This was one of the best matches, and again, one of the most talked about matches.
Yeah. Not only that, she knows how to get to the opponents, not in their head.
But in the ring, Alexa started targeting Ronda's ribs, which she knew were injured, because she's injured them a couple of weeks before, so she was like, okay, I'm going to target your ribs, and that is one of the qualities that really helps out Alexa Bliss, because she's smart. She knows how to get to her opponent.
Yeah, and she knows that the only way she could defeat Ronda is if she makes her tap. But another thing, too, is Ronda's submission game is on point because she comes from the UFC, and they do a lot of submission moves, and in UFC, they're pretty much specialists.
Yeah, she's a specialist at that, but even then, Alexa Bliss took the risk, and she took Ronda, like I said earlier, to another level. And this is probably one of Ronda's best matches yet in the WWE. It's going to be very interesting to see who she faces at Evolution. And again, Alexa Bliss versus Trish Stratus at Evolution, it's going to be incredible. You know, like you said, everybody underestimates Alexa for her size, and not only that, she gets a lot of hate, but like I've said before, if you're getting hate, and you're a heel, you're doing your job, you know what I mean? The Miz, he gets booed out of the building, even if he goes to Cleveland, where he's from. He still gets booed. He's doing his job. It's his hometown, and he's still getting booed.
And Ronda, just like we said before, she just keeps getting better and better. You could tell every week she comes up with new movesets. But clearly, you could tell she just dominates everybody when she gets in the ring. Her strength, her ability is just amazing.
You know, Natty was ringside with her. So, that was pretty much her backup for the night. And I don't really think Natty helped her out that much, which is a good thing. But at the end of the day, these two are basically a team. Alexa had Mickey and Foxy at ringside with her, and at the end of the day, Ronda beat her fair and square.
And then keep in mind that Alexa Bliss, yeah, she's great and she's been successful, but she's always had someone in her corner.
Exactly. She always does, but this time she didn't need anybody in her corner.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did interfere in the match, but if you really think about it, she didn't do anything that was super high level that made her cheat. She faced Ronda, she stuck through it. Yeah, she got tossed around, she took a beating, but she also gave one to Ronda Rousey. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Her performance in that match was incredible. And start giving Alexa Bliss credit where credit is due, because she's one hell of a wrestler. And like we've said before, in-ring skills, mic skills, she is up there.
She's got the whole package, and that's why she's facing Trish Stratus at Evolution. And it's going to be a great, great match. Don't be surprised if Alexa comes out with the win. But we'll see what happens.
We'll get to the Evolution predictions. Closer to Evolution, we will let you guys know, what we think. And all of that. But props to Alexa Bliss. She's definitely earned my respect. Ronda Rousey did an incredible job. Looking forward to see what she's going to do. She's got the Raw women's division at a very high level right now. And I think she's a great champion, and I can't wait to see what else she does.
So far, she's doing a great job. And hopefully the best comes for her, and I think she's going to have a long title range. I don't know about you.
Yeah, she definitely is, and we'll see where they go with her. All right, let's get into the main event. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. We decided on Roman Reigns at this match. This was basically didn't go both ways. There was no, what do you call it?
There was no winner.
Exactly, there was no winner because, again, as Armando was saying, these surprises. Brock Lesnar came out and completely destroyed everybody. And to be completely honest, everybody is saying, oh, I don't like the ending. I don't like the ending. To me, the ending was genius. Why? Vince McMahon wants Roman Reigns as a champion. He has been, over the last month, he has found, so many different ways. I believe so far it's been 3 different ways to keep Roman Reigns as champion. And this was one of them. And that was genius. And at the end of the day, Brock Lesnar sells. He brings in that crowd. That crowd didn't... Everybody hated him right before he dropped the title to Roman Reigns. He came back and the entire arena, which was the AT&T Arena, was yelling, "Thank you, Brock." Okay, he came out. He saved the damn main event. Nobody was interested in the main event. I wasn't interested until Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler came out. I was more interested in what was going on outside of the ring than what was going inside.
Yeah, once everybody got involved, it made it a whole lot better because we had all of them were at the top of the steel cage of the Hell in a Cell.
The only thing I am disappointed about is that nobody went through the cage. Whether it was through the top or the bottom, nobody went through the cage. But props to both men. Again, I think the main event was genius. And as Armando had said in previous podcasts, Braun Strowman was going to have an unsuccessful cash-in. He did, and I would understand Braun Strowman's frustration going forward. I would have loved to see him personally win and have a successful cash-in, but that ended up not happening. But now that Brock Lesnar got into the picture, this feud is going to expand and go in so many different directions, and I'm looking forward to see where they're going to go with that. Again, for those of you that think the main event sucked, it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I mean, you saw my reaction when Brock Lesnar came out. It was totally unexpected. I was in shock because I really thought that he was done, that he wasn't going to come back, and all of a sudden his music plays and comes in and basically kicks his way in through the
steel cage?
Into the Hell in a Cell. So I mean, it was great. It was brilliant. I really loved it, and I think that was part of it, just because it was a surprise that nobody expected him to show up.
And let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. If Roman Reigns would have pinned Braun Strowman clean, the entire arena in San Antonio would have left extremely upset. Now, if Braun would have won, yeah, it would have been a completely different outcome. But do you really think that's the way the company was going in? No. So what did Vince McMahon do? He found a different way to keep Roman Reigns as champion. And now we have a reigning, defending champion. And that champion is Roman Reigns. And at the end of the day, he shows up. He does his job. And he's the Universal Champion. There's nothing anybody can do about it. But, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. The ending was genius.
It was, and like you said earlier, Vince McMahon's going to find ways to help Roman retain the title for as long as possible. He did it when Braun Strowman was going to cash in the first time. He threw the Shield out there to help out.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying. He's found different ways to keep him champion so far. And as of right now, I don't see it changing. Roman Reigns might be champion for the next couple of months, at least till the end of the year, if anything. So I have no issue with it as long as, he's a defending champion that we all deserved when Brock left. And Brock Lesnar coming back was brilliant because you can no longer complain about not having a reigning champion. You can no longer complain about him being a part-timer because who cares? He's not champion anymore. He's going to come back. He's going to sell. He's going to make WWE a whole lot of money. And guess what? Everybody is going to tune in to see Brock Lesnar. How many times do you think people have probably seen the video of him returning during the main event? I haven't looked it up. I'll look it up and I'll let you guys know on the podcast for Raw and SmackDown. But how many people do you think have seen it? Probably millions of people have seen it already. Brock Lesnar is money.
Yeah.
And that's why he brought him out. Nobody expected it. It was completely unexpected.
Yeah, and like you said, it really doesn't matter what Brock Lesnar does now because he's not the champion anymore.
Exactly. He can leave, come back, leave, come back, leave, and come back. The reason why he lost it is so that Roman Reigns can be the champion that we all needed. And now, Brock Lesnar doesn't have to show up on a weekly basis. And nobody's going to care. Why? He's not the champion anymore.
Yeah, that is correct. Even though when he came out, he did look a lot more leaner, a lot more fitter, which means that he's already preparing for his UFC match. But again, like I said, surprises like this is what we want. I don't know about you guys, but that's what me and Araceli like.
Yeah, surprises, something that we weren't expecting. And when he came out, I was like, there's no way my eyes are seeing what they are seeing right now, because we genuinely thought he was done. We didn't think he was going to continue to wrestle. And he came back, and now it's genius. Like I just told you guys a few minutes ago, he doesn't even have to show up on a weekly basis. He can show up for pay-per-views, and nobody's going to care. I'm not going to care because he's not the champion.
Yeah, so that means he's just going to be floating around, coming back and forth whenever he thinks he's needed or he wants to get involved.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get a championship. Like, they're done with him for a while, but he's still going to show up. And the reason why is because just like Ronda Rousey, he makes the company a lot of money. A lot of money. The people that are now coming from the UFC are generating so much income for the WWE that they got nothing. They have nothing else left to do than to make them top stars.
At the end of the day, that's what matters, is that the company brings in money, brings in ratings, and that's what Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey do. Whether you like it or you don't, that's why they were brought here, because they sell, they bring attention to the WWE.
See, it doesn't matter who you are, right? You could be the most famous person ever, but if you're not selling tickets, you're not getting anywhere in that company. Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar sell the most tickets. They get the media talking. How many times? And I haven't even looked into it. I haven't had the opportunity to check and see how many news outlets have talked about Brock Lesnar coming back? Probably a lot of them.
And another thing too, I know that we already got deep into the conversation of Brock Lesnar, but there's one thing I wanted to point out too, in the Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman match. There was a situation where Strowman was pinning Roman Reigns, and Mick Foley does a count 1, 2, and he actually, if I'm not mistaken, he actually did a 3 count, but he said it was 2. Strowman got a little upset with that and was starting to get frustrated with Mick Foley and his counts.
And we never even saw the replay for that, which led Armando and I to believe that it really was a 3 count. At the end of the day, I mean...
everybody makes mistakes.
Exactly. And not only that, but at the end of the day, we got a main event that delivered. You know? And that's all I care about. I don't even care about what the color of the cage is. Silver, black, red, orange, doesn't matter.
And the color of the cage, red, was actually pretty cool. I thought it was something creative, something new.
Something different, you know? And I do want to see it remain red at least for a few more years. We'll see where they decide to go. But yeah, that's all we have for this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. And be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, get the word out there that Wrestling with Siblings is here. And last week we gave a special shout out to at the Wrestle Hub. If you guys would like a shout out, just show us some love and we'll show it back to you.
Stay tuned for later on in the week. We'll be having the Raw and SmackDown podcast. Again, thank you guys for all the love and support. We love you guys.
And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, can you do the honors and tell them what WWS stands for?
Wrestling with Siblings.
See you guys next week on Wrestling with Siblings.